need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yeah. That is a thing that went down in the second largest city in the state of Massachusetts, Worcester, where apparently they have decided to vote on whether or not they're going to make their city a sanctuary city, not for illegal immigrants, but for the transes. Now, those of you who follow this channel will know that we actually talked about this particular city before because they had a non-binary or transes member of the city council called Thru Nugent, who apparently was very, very upset about some alleged misgendering that went on and decided that the response to misgendering was to not show up to work for over a month or 2 months because, oh my god, the city council is so hostile towards the transes that they overwhelmingly voted to make this a sanctuary city for the transes, and in reality, that transes member of the city council just didn't want to come to work and decided that they were entitled to get paid to not come to work, and that's exactly what went down in that particular case. However, this city council meeting, and by the way, there's a compilation that has been put together by ALX over on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, that we're going to go through, and to say that it was unhinged is the understatement of the century. I mean, again, you heard right there from the top, that person with the blue-haired wig, not even a transes apparently, we will find out that this person is a drag queen, deciding that they need to be protected from the evil orange man because the transes are allegedly under attack, even though there's no such attack. I mean, again, just saying that there are two sexes, male and female, and saying that transes women, people who are born biologically male, can't dominate in female sports is not a violation of your fundamental rights. Let's be clear about that. Now, look, we're going to break this down, but before I do, I will remind you that at the end of this week, February 15th and February 16th, we are doing DebateCon 5. I will be debating on the second night, which is the Sunday in Newark, New Jersey. If you want to get out to the show, the link to tickets is in the top of the description. Please come out. I would love to see you guys in person. And yeah, let's get into this without further ado.
Worcester will become a sanctuary city for the transgender community. City councilors passed a resolution late last night. WBC's Penny Commit shows us what that vote could mean.
In a late Tuesday night vote, Worcester City councilors voted to make Massachusetts' second largest city a sanctuary city for transgender residents. The decision came after hours of testimony from the public, people saying they feel unsafe by President Trump's mandate that the federal government recognize only two genders.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
So look, obviously we open up with this blue-wigged person that is wearing a dress that appears to be a female that is later going to identify as a drag queen, but needless to say, this person also claims to have a bunch of other additional disabilities, which might explain why she's at a city council meeting expressing such frailty over the evil orange man. And to be clear, on this channel, I do not care about somebody's sexual orientation. I do not care about somebody who's an adult's gender identity or anything of the sort. If you want to have cosmetic surgery, that's on you. That's perfectly fine for you to do. That being said, I refuse to accept this new thing in American culture, this thing that's being pushed for a while, which is no judgment. I'm not a fan of tattoos. I do not think they look nice. I'm not a fan of all the facial piercings, and I will judge you, but that being said, I'm not going to make it illegal for you to be a transes or anything of the sort. And by the way, the evil orange man isn't doing that as well. What his executive orders tend to pertain to are prisoners. They also pertain to sports, which is an obvious one, and of course, they pertain to children getting these ridiculous procedures. All of these things should not be allowed in the United States of America, but if you're gonna wear a blue wig and a ridiculous green dress, guess what? You're an adult. That's perfectly fine. You look ridiculous, but that's not something that the orange man is going to go after.
There's unfortunately a lot of fear in the LGBTQ plus community right now.
A sanctuary city for transgender people would function very similarly to a sanctuary city for immigrants, which is the realm in which we usually hear this term. Basically, it means that local resources would not be used to help federal agencies detain or locate these individuals.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here. I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
So again, this whole entire city council meeting that apparently went on 4 hours in Worcester, Massachusetts is absolutely crazy from top to bottom. On top of that, you can see that there's a sign in the background that says silence equals death, because of course, everything that you do anytime you disagree with the transes, that is quite literally killing the transes. But this person right here of a gender that I find to be undiscernible is literally shaking. She's shaking right now, or he's shaking right now. Who the hell knows? And it's just so sad. It's so terrible. And of course, I just want to point out, in addition to that this person's trying to plead for their life. Are they taking too long pleading for their life?
I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
And the answer to that question that I have is yes, you're taking too long. Lady, gentleman, whatever you want to be called, this is a McDonald's. Please order your chicken McNuggets and get the hell out, because this is not the appropriate venue for you to bring up all this other nonsense.
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
So we also have this lady right here with the blue hair that says, you remember how many children I have, and you remember that 2 of my children are trans. And again, I would just point out that statistically, the transes are less than 1/10 of 1%, or definitely less than 1% of the population. I think it's less than 1/10 of 1%, even though all these Gen Z types are over-identifying in that group. And obviously, in my opinion, if you have more than one transes kid, you know, like Megan Fox, who has 3 children that are all transgender, what a coincidence, then this is due to somebody else having influence. And I'm going to point the finger, not at anybody in particular, but there is a blue-haired woke activist that gets social credibility for saying that their children's happen to be transes, and I think that person right there is in this city council meeting trying to celebrate for everyone. Now, the next person says that they're a bisexual and transes.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
So bigender and transgender, whatever, not really that big of a deal to me. But I will say, in addition to that, they don't seem to be presenting in that particular way. But we go back to the drag queen with the McDonald's gloves to hear more about her various different disabilities.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
So this is the person that we saw in the open right there. As you can see, you have the McDonald's gloves, you have the blue clown wig, you also have the green dress over the different clothing or whatever. And again, I'm not a fashionista, I'm not an expert on the fashion. I tend to wear a collection of t-shirts that are references throughout the course of my videos because I'm not really emphasizing my merch, but before that, I would wear my merch t-shirts all the time whenever I did my videos. So again, don't take this the wrong way in terms of it being an expert fashion criticism, but I don't think this person is in drag. I don't know. I've seen some drag queens in my day. By the way, just to be clear, drag queens are not transgender. A lot of drag queens are also very not super woke and super political and all that. I just want to add into that. But this person is just dressed like a clown. Like you're dressed like a clown, and why would you feel the need to hide that from your Uber driver on your way there? Because, oh, it's so hard to do, especially when you're in your drag costume. You don't look like you're in drag. You look like you got dressed in the dark.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me. I want you to listen to me.
So let's just be clear about this. I don't want you in my DMs either. Get out of there. Stop messaging me. Stop trying to sell me feet pics. I'm not interested. But in addition to that, this person's like, oh, it's my day off. I don't want to be here. I don't want to have to put glitter on my face in order to show up to the city council and all this other stuff. And I will just point out that it is very likely that this is an unemployed person. And in addition to that, if you don't want to be here, if you don't want to DM people, if you don't want to do any of that stuff, you could try this amazing wonderful talent, which is not being there, not DMing people, and not putting glitter on your face. By the way, I will give some credit to this person who may be in drag or something of the sort. Glitter is an absolute nightmare in every possible way. It gets on everything. There is no way to get it off. It is possibly the worst thing ever invented by humanity. So if you're willing to throw that on your face, I do believe that you've suffered enough and you shouldn't have to be here. That being said, apparently the evil orange man, amongst his very sensible executive orders related to the transit topic, also said no more glitters on your face, or you don't get civil rights if you have glitters on your face. Therefore, this person is just forced to be here because, oh my god, the evil orange man, so bad, so evil, and so armed.
Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans, LGBT people, and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me!
Okay, we're all done here.
Fucking pathetic!
No, we're all done. Come on.
So here you have a person that, again, may be indiscernible in terms of male or female, what direction they're trying to go in, but I believe what's actually happening is that we have a Melvin gender, somebody trying to transition into a Melvin. And for those of you who are unaware of what that means, just go watch a South Park episode and see what they called the nerdy characters, because this is exactly what is going down right here. And in addition to that, you have the swearing, you have the, oh my god, people are literally dying. This is the literally shaking person from earlier, and as you can see, this is just mental illness on display, not exactly the best representatives of a healthy transis population, and it's quite unfortunate that all of these people have been whipped into such a hysteria because they obviously have pre-existing mental conditions that make them vulnerable to influence by all these different news organizations that are pretending that not letting biological males compete in female sports is somehow the first step in the genocide against them. Again, if you're a transis and you're an adult, you're going to be perfectly fine. If you're a transis and you're an adult and you're in my audience, you're going to be a-okay. It's going to be acceptable. You're gonna be good. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out. Don't think that the evil orange man is coming to get you. Honestly, the evil orange man doesn't really give a damn about LGBTQ XXII pay community kind of issues, so just chill the hell out.
Of course, we need to continue celebrating Black History Month because in spite of what's coming down from Washington, we all know that we all exist and we all need to be recognized for our existence.
But be aware that you are a guest in my house when you come. And when you come, know that there are strong queer and trans people in my classroom who will collect you with the quickness.
So again, we get back to the mom of two transis kids. This would also be somebody who is very likely to be a child abuser. Again, it is very rare to have transis kids, let alone two of them. And of course, she says something about how we have to recognize Black History Month because you always have to signal to the racialism and all that. And of course, oh my god, it's so sad. And then we have that followed up by another person who apparently is a teacher. And again, I will just point out that the left is not exactly representing themselves well right here. These are the exact kind of crazy people that we should not be catering to in our society. Again, if you want to dress weird, if you want to get cosmetic surgeries, you're free to do that. I'm not a fan of it, but that's totally fine for you to do. I'm not the arbiter of everything in the entire country, although I should be. But that being said, it's what are you doing? This is all to get this ordinance passed. There's so much anger against the city council, and I just want to point out that all but two of the city council members eventually voted in favor of this.
Specifically, the newly passed resolution says that Worcester officials, contractors, and employees will not be used to detain people seeking or providing gender-affirming care, adding that the city will not cooperate with state or federal agencies that aim to harm gender-diverse people. Worcester Mayor Joseph Petty was a major supporter of the resolution.
Hey, we got your back. That's all it's saying.
So all this sound and fury signifying nothing about how this city council is so oppressive ended up resulting in these people getting exactly what they wanted.
My name in drag is Dee Dee Delight. And my name out of drag is Dewey Cosgrove Atienza.
Laddie LaRouge, he, they, in drag, District 3.
My legal name is Olivia D'Ambrosio. My public name is Livy Scanlon. My wife and I own a home in the Canal District.
I speak as someone who is always misgendered like all the time. People refer to me as sir when I prefer to be referred to as ma'am. I speak as someone who is afraid to use public toilets. I speak as someone who is a member of this community and is a queer person.
You have to imagine being me and my wife, fearing that our marriage rights will be stripped away at any moment.
Please, I only have so much time. Please, Joe's gonna cut me off.
Which matters more? Covering the legal fees of systemic police brutality or protecting the lives of queer people in our community? How many lives have to be lost before you consider fighting back against fascism and corruption?
Now is the time to say that if federal money relies on the dehumanization of trans people, that we don't want your goddamn money.
I get that some of you care more about easy funding than trans lives and don't mind Nazis for some whatever reason, but
Normally I would say good evening, but through the chair I will only impart my sour grapes.
It's an extremely emotional and taxing thing to stand up here as someone as part of the trans and gender diverse community.
So look, obviously I don't want to keep this just at the superficial level of me just making fun of these people, although you're free to do that if you so please. Again, I will link the compilation in full in the description, but it just goes to show you how all the different rhetoric that we hear around the trans issue is exciting and crazing a bunch of people that are already vulnerable to mental illnesses, and even incorporates people that genuinely have nothing to do with the LGBTQ XII community. Again, I know people think drag is co-related into this particular group, but this lady dressed as a McDonald's clown with blue hair, that does not make her a transis. Like that's not what that is. Again, I don't want to be the person to break it to these people, but they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Now, in terms of the transis camps or whatever they're worried about, which by the way, I believe somebody mentions later on, this is not going to occur. You need to shut the hell up. You have nothing to do with migrants or black people, except for those of you who are black and or are migrants. And yeah, you got your wish because Worcester ended up making this a sanctuary city for the transes, something that was not needed, not necessary, and a total waste of time. And this is the main problem that the Democratic Party has, is that they keep fighting on these stupid, ridiculous issues that nobody's even really addressing. They keep taking these stances and they keep pushing ever more fringe elements of the culture to the forefront, and this is exactly why that Trump they-them ad was so effective during the campaign. But of course, I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. If you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the mad transes at this city council meeting. Till next time.